Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is game number 4 between Carnegie Mellon University and Rochester Institute of Technology, and we'll go ahead and jump right into things. Playing as the yellow Protoss, we have Jargalon N as uSiN. And on the other side of Tal'Darim Altar in the 2 o'clock position, we do have the blue Terran Flash, aka Jeho Ko. I'm not sure if this is actually the actual Flash. Actually, I'm very sure that it's not the actual Flash, but it does seem like this particular Flash has an idol, and I think we can guess who it is just by looking at his name. So we do have a good old-fashioned TVP on Tal'Darim Altar. We do have uSiN. Does seem like he is in the advantageous position because he will be able to walk straight down out of his natural. Let's see, we got the ramp going down here, a little bit of the middle of the map, a watchtower, and then straight up into his opponent's natural. So Colossi are going to be huge because they will be able to fill the role that a siege tank normally fills on this particular map. They will just be able to walk right into the natural. Also, Stargate play is very, very popular on this map. There was no forward pylon, so I'm not sure if we're going to see a very, very fast forward nexus and natural expansion from uSiN. But Flash, he doesn't seem to be taking his gas yet, so he may be going for a fast expansion. It does look like, oh, here we have the probe now running forward. Oh, it's just going for the scout. And let's see which way it's headed. Oh, no, I think it's queued to the wrong base. Let's just follow. No, it's going to the wrong direction. I do like how uSiN scouted first. He does know about this ever so popularly abused low ground, so he does just decide to check first. I'm sure he has another build up his sleeve just to counter that. So no gas yet from Flash. Looks like we probably are going to be seeing a pretty quick command center out of him just for the expansion of uSiN. Scouts and immediately turns around, and we do have Flash now scouting backwards as well. He will get into uSiN's main and see that he is in this position. There is a cyber core going down, probably going to see a zealot follow up right away once he gets to about 100 minerals. And Flash gets in. He sees the chrono on the nexus. He does know that there are going to be a healthy number of probes going out. Meanwhile, we do have an orbital going down and a forward command center for Flash. So there it is, that very, very early expansion. Meanwhile, uSiN scouting around. He does scout the wrong direction, which means his opponent is in fact at the 2 o'clock, which is unfortunate that he just scouted that position last. And we do have another depot going down. Let's see, there's the zealot just going to try to deny that SCV scout. And oh, this is excellent, just looping back around the gateway with the probe just to scout the stalker, just to make sure that that chrono boost is not being used on a warp gate, which would be indicative, and I'm going to use this word all throughout the rest of these games, of some very, very early Protoss pressure. So the command center is just about done. There's now a bunker, and let's see, that probe is now just waiting at the watchtower. Not going to go ahead and complete the scout because he knows by this time there are going to be Marines and that probe would die. So instead, uSiN just decides to put the probe at the watchtower and maintain vision. Still no gas going down from Flash. Looks like he does want to try to make as many SCVs as possible and just get as far ahead as he can in supply, and it does look like we have the classic zealot stalker pressure, but this bunker will be able to repel it. This is probably just going to scout up the ramp, see the bunker, there they do, and immediately back away. Excellent, excellent. We do have now a probe scouting around behind just to make sure there isn't any hidden buildings or maybe a quick third, so that's very, very cool that probe is just looking around. And now we see uSiN countering this build with his own nexus, so probably going to be seeing some robo play coming out very, very soon. We have a gateway going down, probably going to see another one in about 10 minerals maybe. No, instead just continuing to make probes, and there was an excellent scan. It will see this gateway go down, so Flash knows he's in a pretty safe spot. He is actually just now grabbing both gases, dropping a tech lab on one of his barracks, probably going to be grabbing stim or combat shields. I'd be very surprised if it were anything else because it's just about all you can get for Marines. We do have another SCV supply depot going down, a couple sentries being made. Warp gate is about to finish, so just timing that warp gate. We do have chrono boost also on the nexus, just getting out that warp as we take a look at the income tab. It is 29 to 25 harvesters. So it does look like uSiN is ahead in harvesters, but because of that incredible mining capacity of the mule, which did just die, let's see if there's another one. Flash is able to keep up in income, and both players just sitting comfortably on 2 gas, macroing up into a mid-game. We do actually see Marauders going down, and there it is, Stim. So standard early game, no early cheesy pressure. We do have a lot of sentries coming in, 1, 2, 3 so far. I'd like to see a couple more. Typically around 5 or 6 is just sort of that critical sentry mass that is so terrifying for Zerg and Terran, just because the capacity for force fields is so big. When you hit that number, you can really manipulate control, and that Stalker actually died. That's kind of huge from uSiN. I was talking about the sentries and I completely missed that. Missing that early Stalker means that Flash now has map control. This means that in order for uSiN to go back and take map control, he has to leave his base and reclaim that watchtower, which he really does not want to do. Leaving his base indicates that he is ready for a timing push, which sometimes can be used as a feign. I know Day 9 talks about doing this a lot, just pushing out and not really engaging the enemy army, but just demonstrating that you do have the capacity to do that. Really can often send your opponent retreating backwards. We do have a Robo going out now with an Observer and 1, 2, 3 more gateways. So standard tech path. Looks like we're going to see 7 gate Robo once we get one more gateway going down. No Forge yet, so there are going to be no fast upgrades. It actually looks like Flash is going to be ahead in upgrades, dropping 2 reactors and just now grabbing his factory. We do see that back NG Bay researching a quick +1 weapons, which will allow him the advantage in this earlier engagement. We do have the turret at the front. I was going to talk about it, but I got distracted. That turret's really awesome just because it'll defend against any silly Dark Templar cheeses that Flash may not have scouted. So when he did scan earlier, he actually did just scan, I believe, and saw everything making. So some Zealots now, Zealot Sentry, no Stalkers. I'm very surprised by this. Very cool Zealot wall. That was, he just pulled them apart and happened to make a wall, so that's kind of interesting. Both players continuing to macro up. We take a look at Harvesters, 47 to 43, so very good. We see Chrono Boost is now no longer being spent, kind of building up just a little bit. I don't agree with this. You do have the capacity to shave 10 seconds off of anything you're building, which is humongous. Or I believe it's 10, let's see, how exactly does Chrono Boost work? 50% faster for 20 seconds. So yeah, it shaves 10 seconds off build time. There we go. Now we see Chrono Boost going down on the robotic support bay for that Colossi, getting that Colossi out as well. So another thing that it could be used for is, once again, the Forge, just getting that really fast up +1, +2, which is ever so popular nowadays, just because having that upgrade advantage can really turn the tide of battles in your favor. And there we go. We saw a Forge now is researching +1 armor rather than +1 weapons. So that's very cool to see him actually listen to me through time and space and know what I want him to do. So it looks like we are going to see some Zealot Sentry Colossi. Really quite a terrifying build. Just does so much damage. Probably going to add some Archons later in. And meanwhile, world's most expensive Scout for Flash is going to go in and see the front, see that there are no Stalkers. And it does look like Flash is actually moving out with a very frightening number of units. He's got 33 Marines and 7 Marauders to 13 Zealots and 5 Sentries. So here comes the world's most expensive Scout. We look at production. Range is not yet finished for the Colossi. That will allow uSiN to hold for so much longer. And Stim is finished. He's going to stim up the ramp. There needs to be force fields. Excellent force fields separating the army. 2 more do go down just to allow the Zealots to mop up those Marines. Great force fields. uSiN timing that perfectly to segment the army, seeing if he can pick off a few more there. But he does allow the Colossi to pop those force fields. Concussive shells now going down to +1 armor for the Terran. Flash as well. Meanwhile, the world's most expensive Scout does get away, and very excellent control from uSiN. He waited till exactly the right moment and completely halved his opponent's army, allowing the Colossi and Zealots to just do so much damage and mop it up. And uSiN knows he did that perfectly, so immediately moving forward to take his third. Meanwhile, Flash also taking his own third. It did look like he postured up to try to take that third with that little engagement that we saw, but he didn't exactly succeed quite as well as his opponent. So it is now up to see if Flash can survive this counterattack. And here come the Colossi. They are just going to be able to do rain fire on this refinery. There they go, that massive range 9. If they move a little bit further forward, they can get in to do the SCVs. It looks like they're just going to get the refinery and presumably back away, but it does look like uSiN or Flash actually having added a couple Vikings. He does need to move in and engage. Excellent force fields, just making sure that the Terran army is spread out as much as possible. We see a small pocket down on the bottom left get immediately obliterated by now 3 Colossi. That Colossi kind of staying so high, the Stalker's doing tons and tons of damage. Clearing up now medevacs. One medevac is about to go down. These Marauders need to fall back with the main force. The Colossi are just going to continue to posture up at this high ground position, and the SCVs are about to take a lot of damage. The Vikings do have range on those Colossi, but they need to be careful with that Stalker support right there. And meanwhile, the Nexus is finished. A couple of defensive Zealots going down, and uSiN, aware that he has gotten a second advantageous battle in his favor, is just now going to back off and continue adding to his army, adding to his economy. We actually see Twilight Council was dropped, and Charge is now being researched and chrono boosted out. Meanwhile, +1 weapons is also going down for the Zealot Stalker Colossi for uSiN. Flash, in the meanwhile, let's check up on his upgrades. He is now grabbing +2 weapons. He did get +1 armor. He does have the armory to allow for the extra upgrades. I really, really like this composition from uSiN. He went in with that early, perfectly timed, aware that he didn't need his Stalker composition until the mid-game, until he really needed to defend against Vikings, just because the Zealots and force fields with the Colossi support do so much damage against that Terran placement. That was really, really, really well played. So Flash is now adding more Vikings. Let's see if he's continuing to produce Vikings. Yes, he is. He is comfortably sitting at, I believe, 2 medevacs. He probably should add a few more just to add that sort of survivability to his army. So we have an SCV running around scouting now. A couple of observers are floating around the map. That's a lot of observers. 1, 2, 3 observers are just scouting around. So this SCV is now going down, and another observer. Wow, uSiN is just absolutely terrified of drops. He is actually getting observer speed, so I'm not exactly sure why uSiN is going for this many observers, unless he's really that terrified of Banshees. We do have Storm going down. Storm is excellent against Bio, just because it does 75 damage, I believe it is. Without any question in a certain AoE, and against the, let's see, Storm, 80 damage over 4 seconds, so that's 20 damage per second. With only 2 medevacs for Flash, his units are going to take a lot of damage. So uSiN, playing excellently with his composition, knows exactly what he wants to go to. Getting that really, really big Storm force field would be really, really huge, and just allow his Colossi, which is now up to 4. And actually, uSiN has stopped producing Colossi. That's actually really cool. He's perfectly comfortable with his Tier 1 army and Storm. Let's see how many 1, 2, 3 High Templars so far. So that would be a potential 3 Storms when it finishes. +2 armor is also about to finish. Blink is on the way. It does look like both players are about to posture up. This is a healthy number of Vikings. They're going to obliterate this Colossi so quickly, but it doesn't even look like uSiN wants to do anything like that. He's just going to try to storm his opponent out, and let's go ahead and drop the UI and watch this. Here we go. The Stalkers are engaging. The Marines are now moving in. Let's see if there's going to be a big stim. If Flash is going to stim his entire army and try to engage. Oh, a huge volley gets off, and there's the stim going in. Need to force field the army in half on the ramp. Oh, the Colossi engage, doing lots of damage, wiping out 1 row of Marines completely. The Colossi are just melting to that Viking fire, however, and the Zealots need to engage. They're just sitting over to the side. A storm could be huge right now. Where are those High Templar? They need to get the storm going down. 1 force field goes down. Where? Oh, here we go. 1 storm just misses, and it does look like Flash is just walking in. He sits in 1 storm, carpet bombing the army with storm, but it doesn't look like it was enough. Flash is just doing so much damage. An excellent engage from Flash. uSiN did so well in the early game, and now it does look like he is starting to fall back a little bit. His army just got cleaned up by those 2-2 Marines. Meanwhile, uSiN is sitting at 1-2, so that upgrade advantage really in Flash's favor during that fight. And if we just look at the supply, 177-74, I'm not sure what uSiN could do to get back into the game. He's losing his production facilities. Pylons are going down. Our Robo already did go down. These gateways, actually, Flash just targeting down the gateways, eliminating his opponent's army. So now only 3 medevacs at 0 energy, healing that army. And we could be seeing some storms going down. There's actually not enough energy for the storms. A feedback instead on the 1 energy medevac. An excellent split. And there's the GG from uSiN. So game number 4 goes to Carnegie Mellon University with some excellent control from Flash. He did engage that really, really well, just pushing uSiN back into his base. So J-Ho Ko, you have lived up to the image of your idol, and you played fantastically. So thank you so much for watching, viewers, and I will see you in game number 5. Thanks.